بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. We were discussing the theory of contract. I think we are going to continue, and I hope we are going to finish particularly these three pillars of contract. Inshallah, we are going to finish it by today, and we will start the new section under theory of contract starting from Wednesday. So, so far we learned this is the skeleton of the class, the entire section. I think you can see we talked about the definition of contract, and then we moved to pillars of contract, and we talked about the sigha, which is expression, ijab and qubul, which is offer and acceptance. Yeah, then we talked about the parties to a contract, which was the longest one. We discussed the ahliya, the capacity. Hope I think you all understood clearly what is actually ahliya al-wujub and ahliya al-ada, the passive receptive capacity and also active legal capacity. So I was giving you the example to memorize and also to easily understand. I think you can recognize a person starting from fetus, then become child, then become distinguished child, or you may call it teenager, right? Then become adult. So I think there is a four types of what we call it as stages of your life. So you can put into that incomplete passive, incomplete passive. Then you have incomplete active. Then you have complete active. Yeah. All right. So then we talked about the obstacles to capacity or restraints. These obstacles, even though you are a complete active capacity, you are an adult, still there are some obstacles that can stop you to do some sort of sale and selling and buying. So what are they? Yeah, we talked about around 8 to 9 obstacles. If a person in these conditions, he or she should not conclude any contract. Like for example, we talked about if someone is not conscious, someone is sleeping, someone is intoxicated, or somebody made him or her intoxicated. Yeah, somebody is in mortal illness. Yeah, so there were so many obstacles. We talked about it. Those are the obstacles for those who are already complete active legal capacity, ahliya al-ada. Still, they cannot conclude contract. These are the reasons. Yes, very good. So you need to learn, you need to link together what we are learning earlier. It's not the different thing we are teaching. It is there is a continuity of what we are talking. So better you understand the connectivity so that you don't lose the discussion, right? So on that manner, so we are going to talk about the authorization today. What I mean by authorization, you see, you are a complete active legal capacity. At the same time, can you ask someone who is also complete legal capacity to conclude your contract? We call wakil. Yeah, in Malay also we call bahasa wakil. In Arabic also wakil. I think in so many other languages as well, wakil. So it's like a agency, al-wakālah, right? Let's say if you are not a complete active legal capacity, you are a passive. Let's say you are a minor, right? So now who actually can do the transaction on your behalf? We call him guardian. So it's called guardianship, al-walāyah. So walaya means guardianship, wakala means agency. So now You just need to know who actually can become, because earlier we told if you are a minor, or you are if someone is a lunatic, someone is idiot, someone is not conscious, so someone is, for example, safih, prodigal, so the judge will say that the guardian should do all sort of transaction. So without guardian, a minor cannot do that. So now we are going to talk about who actually can become the guardian, what are the qualification for guardianship, and then what are the qualification to become agent. So is there any differences between this guardianship and agency? Because sometimes it looks like same, yeah, because you are asking somebody to do the work for you on your behalf, somebody has to do that. Now it is from looking from outside, it looks like it's the same thing, because someone has to conclude your transaction. But is there any difference between guardianship and agency, between walaya and wakala? That is all actually, inshallah, we are going to cover in today's discussion. Yeah, let me just go to the slide. All right. So this is what we call authorization. A party to contract, all right? A party to a contract who concludes a contract on behalf of another should not only have complete capacity of performance, but he should also be authorized to enter into the contract. Right. See, is there now? There are many people who are complete capacity. There are many people who are adult, but not everybody can come and can do business for you. It's like, for example, you are about to leave, or you are in the supermarket, and somebody there coming and then doing the business for you. No, unless you authorize him to do the business for you. Remember here, we are talking about in big perspective. Do not put yourself, understand this, that it is the human interaction, is a human being physically coming and becoming your agent. No, we are not talking only about that. Especially today we have online transaction. All right, let me take you to the online transaction, how it's being done. There are so many platforms is providing this kind of transaction, and you don't even see the person. Someone is actually doing the transaction for you. Let me give you an example. You have bank account, you are actually doing some payment to, for example, you want to pay to the electric bill, you want to pay the water bill, or maybe the TV cable connections or telephone connections. Now you are paying through an entity which is actually bank, but it is not humanly available to you. It's not like somebody is coming to you, take the money, and then going to the office, right? Going to the post office, for example, to pay everything. Instead, what you are doing, you are checking your phone, and you are actually using the phone. Let's say last time people used to call or send SMS. Now they are using online because the apps are there, and you are authorizing the application to do certain things. There are so many things we are doing. Let's say we are buying something, some products from online, or you are ordering food online, right? And you are buying the air ticket, for example, from online. You actually using your bank as your wakil, and you are also using your credit card or debit card as your wakil. So everything comes in this picture. It's not only like those days. It is also, it is not like that. It is not relevant today. It is very much relevant today. I'm telling you. For example, you have a house or apartment, and you just want to sell your apartment. Maybe you have seen your parents were doing it. let's say they are not going to be there 24/7 to show your apartment and sell to somebody. There are so many online platforms, and there are so many agencies, or especially they are the experts because they know the market, isn't it? They know how to deal with all these, especially real estate. I have an apartment, but it doesn't mean that I am the expert and I know how to sell it. So what I do, I approach an agency and I tell them I have these are the conditions, these are the payment, these are the price prices. So we make a deal with him, because if he has to sell for us, it has to be like we have to pay him some commissions, right? This is all part of the game. So now everything comes together in this. Everything comes together in this authorization, delegated authority. So now, as I talk to you about the agency, I should also talk to you about the guardianship, because the guardianship is something that it is not, for example, you cannot open open announcement saying that who wants to become my guardian, right? Because guardianship is something that related to you. Your relative only can become your guardian. If there is a child, of course the father is the guardian. When there is no father, the grandfather or later uncle, or maybe the judge may come. The judge will tell who can become the guardian, right? So now a minor is there, and for the minor, whatever the right thing to do, the guardian will do on his behalf. And then we have this guardianship is actually similar to wakala, which is agency, but there are differences, because this guardianship is something very close to what sharia is actually offering, right? Because this guardianship, you can see in Quran so many verses talks about yatama, orphanage, because those days in those days Arabs were not doing this properly. So uh, Allah describing them, that if you have any yatama, because those days there were wars, there were many wars going on, and and they have the property, but the father used to be killed in the war. So Allah is telling in Quran, saying that you have to take care of the yatim, and you have to be just, and you are the person in charge, right? So these are the things, putting it in mind. So now we have the good discussion today talking about the guardianship. Authorization is granted by sharia, while in agency wakala, a person who has complete capacity of performance authorizes another person to conclude a certain transaction on his behalf. So this is the basic difference between walaya and wakala, right? Walaya comes from granted by sharia, but wakala, it is up to you, because you are a fully adult person. At the same time, when you are adult, you can actually ask any adult to become your wakil. Not necessarily even he has to be Muslim. It could be non-Muslim. The condition is he has to be the expert. He has to be someone that you trust. Yeah, those people can become agent. All right. So let's start one by one. Let me tell you first the guardianship. What are the consequences are there? Technically, it is an authority granted by Sharia to a person over the person and property of another by virtue of which his disposition and transactions in respect of such a person would have legal consequences, right? It could be over a person, it could be over a property. For example, if there is a child, he is a person, right? If there is a child, if uncle or grandfather become the guardian, he has to use the child property in order to provide him education, medical care. Once he become adult, then he has to also spend that money for his marriage, right? So these are the things what we call guardianship over a person. So personally, whatever the thing that a person need from the childhood until he become adult, once he become adult, you don't need guardian, you can manage your own. Until you become adult, these are the things, whether it is a food, shelter, and then education, medical care, and everything, guardian has to take care of it, and he has to use the property of the child to do that. He cannot use that money for him. He cannot take any salary for that. Remember, there is no salary for that. For agency, yes, you have commission. Based on commission, you can do that. But guardianship, that's the reason why what I told you, guardianship is something blood related. It is also something that Allah Sharia is granting. So there is no way that someone can charge for that. So that person has to get the rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in hereafter, and that person has to be very much careful of not wasting the child property. For example, that guardian cannot or should not use that property for his own benefits. He has to answer to Allah if he do such thing, because which is prohibited. Yeah. If he buy a car in child's money, I mean, and he thought he has to use it for the child, but most of the time he is using for himself, then he has to answer to Allah, because that's the rights of the child. All right. Then you have guardianship over property, which is actually, if there's a property given to you as a guardian, as a guardianship, then you have to take care of that ward. You have to take care of the property management, investment. Also, you have to do the maintenance if there is something to do. And if you have to also, let's say you have to rent it out, or you have to collect the rental, any financial disposition and transaction on behalf of the ward. So, types of people. What are the people who need guardianship? Of course, it's very clear. As I told you, a minor always need a guardian. As I told you, father is the natural guardian for everybody. That's why me and you, we always put the father's name behind, right? We put Muhammad Aslam bin Akbar, or Fatima binti Muhammad Akbar. So this is how we put our father's name behind us. The reason why, because he is our first guardian. If he is not there, then it has to go to somebody. But a father, if he is alive, he cannot release his guardianship. For example, he say, I am the father, but I don't want to become his guardian. No, you cannot do that, because this guardianship is granted by the Sharia. This is what makes some differences between other cultures and cultures of Muslims, because the fatherhood is so important for everybody, because he is even, you won't you will be surprised to see, you see this prophet once said, ma laka wa ma lahu laka, meaning to say that whatever your wealth is yours, even if your child is earning something, even that child's wealth also yours. So remember that is how fatherhood is admired in Islam, because father is everything. Father will own everything, that whatever that you are owning. So you have to be very careful with your father, right? But at the same time, he cannot release himself from guardianship. All right. Okay. But in his absence, if he is not around, if he is not here, he dismissed, maybe he passed away after his demise, the father's executor, the father's father, or the executor appointed by the father's father. Let's say the father's father is very, very ill. Also, he's very old. He cannot see things. Then he appoints somebody, or the judge. If there is nobody, judge has to come. Judge has to appoint somebody from the family. It could be your uncle, it could be your auntie, it could be anybody, but the judge will come and appoint that kind of person. Yeah. Okay, as I told you earlier, not only minor, if someone is a lunatic, someone is idiot, also need guardianship, right? But it is all up to whenever they are minor. If they become major, the guardianship remains if they are still lunatic, if they are still idiot, even they become major, then still again they need guardianship, because the reason, because they cannot spend by themselves. If they spend by themselves, there is a possibility they lose their property. So Islam considers, this is what the human rights is being shared with humans, because Islam considers if you have problem, other people has to come and take care of your problem. That is how, that's the reason why Prophet said, al mu'minu lil mu'mini kal bunyani yashuddu ba'duhu ba'dha. Meaning to say that a Muslim, for one mu'min for another mu'min is like a building, right? You will see a building, there is a four pillars, there are many walls, there are many sheets and covers, and then so many things, but everything comes together because everything is connected. If there is a wall, say I don't want to connect with another wall, a wall will be wall, it cannot become house, it cannot become building. If a roof, say I don't want to be linked with other walls, then roof cannot become roof, right? So it has to be a building, it has to be connected. That's how, that is where the connecting, the connections of the family is very important, whether it is your parents or your siblings or your children, in fact even your grandchildren, is all must be connected. If lunacy or idiocy occurs after a person has attained the age of major, a judge or person appointed by him assumes guardianship over such a person. Yeah, we discussed also this one earlier. In case of prodigal Safi, if prodigality continues from the childhood, Safi being Safi, he also needs guardian, as I told you. But for Safi, the father and grandfather cannot become the guardian. I told you last time. Why? Because they are the reason why he became Safi, isn't it? So judge will be the guardian, and judge will appoint someone to take care of that kind of person, Safi. Safi, the person who spent unlimited. Yeah. Okay. And then a bankrupt person, he doesn't need a guardianship. Remember, a bankrupt person, yeah, he become bankrupt. I understand, but yeah, he cannot actually sell his items because he has to settle the debt to everybody. That's the reason why we call him bankrupt. But he is not a child, right? He has everything. He was the normal person, but he doesn't need a guardian. However, he is restrained from certain financial dealing concerning his property in order to protect the interests of the creditors. There are some restraints are there, but he doesn't need a guardian. The judge will come, and the judge will issue the orders. The conditions. What is the condition? Who can become guardian? A guardian must be a complete capacity. We need to say that a minor cannot become a guardian for the minor. For example, there is a big brother and there is a small brother. Yeah, but if both of them are minor, big brother cannot become the guardian of the small brother. You understand the point? A guardian must be Muslim. As I told you, this is walāyah. This, if you are a Muslim, your guardian must be a Muslim. A non-Muslim cannot become the guardian. A guardian must be just, must be pious, practicing Muslim. A guardian should have the authority and be able to make decisions required by the guardianship. He should be someone is like who can decide by himself. He should protect, manage, and invest property of the ward. A guardian should spend the maintenance of the ward with a moderation from the ward's property in accordance with his social status and wealth. Yeah. Also, a guardian should always ensure the interest of the ward is protected while making financial dispositions. He cannot, for example, he is not allowed to put his money in something that which can cause loss. Yeah, anything that beneficial, he can do that. For example, accepting a gift or will, but he cannot give, he cannot pass gift to somebody, because that is not his money, the child's money, isn't it? He cannot give gift to somebody. He can accept gifts. So whatever benefits to the child's property, he actually can do. Whatever it's not benefit losing, he is not allowed to do that. A guardian may conclude transaction where the possibility of profit and loss, that is possible. For example, business, he can do business whereby the business, there is a business profit and loss. In that kind of things he can actually do. But a guardian cannot become one of the parties. See, this is very important. Look how deeply fiqh talks. Because let's say there is a child, he has a property, and then the later a guardian becomes a buyer. You already know, when the guardian himself become the buyer, it is up to him the price. He can fix the price, isn't it? So for that reason, a guardian cannot become the buyer of the property. Cannot one of the party cannot become one of the party. He cannot sell or rent his property to the one. If a guardian violates one of these conditions, the judge may remove him. If the judge comes to know that he is actually abusing the property, then the judge has all the right to remove his guardianship. All right. Okay. The next topic is agency. Wakala literally means protection, delegation, or authorization. Legally, it refers to a contract where a person who is fully competent authorizes another who is equally competent to do a certain well-defined legal action. You need to understand the differences very well, because we are not talking about guardianship, we are talking about agency, wakala. And I'm telling you, there are so many wakala right now still going on in our life. We just need to look into it. There are so many wakala, because today we are not doing most of the thing ourselves. Somebody is actually doing for us. In fact, for example, you are using this connectivity, you are using your prepaid or postpaid, you are talking to us, you are sitting in the classroom, and somebody paying for it, somebody doing this transaction, that transaction. Everything is actually based on wakala, because we have agents working for us. So legally speaking, it refers to a contract where a person who is fully competent authorizes another. For example, if I'm a minor, I cannot actually ask, if I am a minor, I cannot ask a wakil agency to sell my property. But a guardian can do that actually. God, because for minor, guardian is the responsible, is responsible. Then the guardian can look for selling things somebody. But if I'm an adult, right, if I'm an adult, yes, for me it's completely allowed. I can look for another adult to sell my property, because the reason why, I don't have time, I don't have expertise, I don't know the market, and I'm willing to give it to somebody who knows the market. And I can, for sure, of course, I will be putting myself, I will be putting myself out of trouble. There are so many things going on in the market, so I go and I seek an assistance from someone. So for that assistance, I pay him the commission. This is totally okay, totally cool. Yeah, this is what actually we are doing. We call him asil, the one who give. And then we have muwakkil, right? So muwakkil is the person who actually doing, I mean, who actually giving somebody. If you are making muwakkil, then if you are making somebody as a wakil, then you become muwakkil. Yeah, this contract of wakala is a non-binding contract, because anytime you can cancel it. For example, you are about to sell and he was about to finish the conclusion, and suddenly you say, I'm not happy with it, i can I can just cancel it. So it's a non-binding contract. The necessity to do wakala. Why you need wakala? As I told you, you may require specialized knowledge and expertise. Example, that's the reason why we're always looking for the lawyer. If you have problems, somebody is actually accusing you that you did something wrong, which you didn't, then now you don't know how to prove yourself that you are innocent. For sure, a judge will ask you if you are capable of proving yourself innocence. Then you can actually do that in the courtroom, in mahkama. But judge will also ask you, do you need a lawyer? If you need a lawyer, the judge will assign a lawyer for you, because just to understand the expertise, right? Because you need to know the legal things, how to do, how to handle this case. That's the reason why we have lawyer. By the way, in some part of the world, we call lawyer by the name of wakil. I think most probably in some languages the name still there, wakil. Wakil means lawyer. I know wakil means is for everything, all the agents, but especially in some part of the world you can call wakil. Wakil means lawyer. Okay, so sometimes distance may be a force. For example, you are in different country and you want to sell your accommodation, I mean your apartment, you are not here, so you use the phone call and you ask somebody to go become your agency, right? Mm. A person may not have enough time to person, you have so many things to do, so you ask somebody, okay, he will be make sure that all the transaction he will be doing it. So you assign a cashier, for example, in any shop you go, there are cashiers who actually also wakil. Uh, he also a person who actually doing the transaction on your behalf. Also, we have another one, Wakil Rayat. I think you know this all political agency. For example, if I have to choose a person who has to, because we are having, of course, we are representing the entire government, but every one of us cannot go to the parliament because the parliament will not be enough for everybody to come. So what we are doing, we are actually choosing a representative from every single part of this country, yeah, from your region. So you have you have the places, for example, certain places, like for example you have this is your taman, huh? So this is your nigri, yeah, and this is your bandar. So there are so many. So what we are doing is actually we are choosing our representative and we are voting, and then we are choosing electing him, and then we are sending him to or sending her to parliament, so that they can go and discuss our issues related to governance and politics. So now coming to what is the comparison between guardianship and agency? Yeah, so this is where the one of the good question always comes: what is the comparison between guardianship and agency? In guardianship, one of the parties lack legal capacity. See that? So put the thing like, for example, number one is a legal capacity. So wakala, in wakala, both of them are legal, fully legal capacity. But in in walaya, it's actually what? One of them has a legal capacity, complete legal capacity. The other one is a receptive legal capacity, right? For example, minor versus grandfather, right? Or maybe lunatic versus uncle, right? This one comes under walaya. But for the agency, both of us, you and me, for example, you can become my wakil and I can become your wakil. So that is the first criteria of comparison. The second criteria of comparison is guardian is appointed by law, meaning to say appointed by sharia, while an agent is appointed by the principal, the person. For example, I am the muwakkil, or you can call me asil or muwakkil. So I am the principal. I can appoint anybody to become my agent, right? So appointment comes from me if it is for wakala, but appointment coming from sharia if it is walaya. You got the point? Okay. Number three, the criteria of comparison. Number three is the religion. Yeah, if it is in walaya, it should be the same religion. For example, if a minor is Islam Muslim, then the guardian must be Muslim. Christian cannot become guardian for that Muslim. Yeah. Okay, that is the differences are there. It has to be the same religion. But remember this: if it is the wakala, if you are looking for an agent, do not restrict yourself to look only for Muslims, because we already know that who are, for example, real estate. We already know who do very well, isn't it? So they are, mashallah, they are already been everywhere. They know the market, and we can. There is no harm in accepting agencies, non-Muslim agencies, because it is completely personal. It's your choice. You can actually do that. That's number three. Then number four, the criteria for number four is actually the payment, right? I told you earlier, in walaya, in guardianship, usually it's not paid, because this is a blood related things, and then you have all the it is your responsible that you should become the guardian for that person or the minor or anybody else, so there is no payment. While an agent is entitled to his commission, for sure, he won't do for free. Maybe your friend is ready to do it for free, but not everybody is ready to do it for free. So of course he is entitled to his commissions. He can ask how much commissions. You can actually upfront, you can talk, okay, if you sell my property I will pay you like this. All right, if you win my case I will pay you like this. Yeah. And then I'm using your service, for example, I'm using your online shopping service. So if I can sell my product to the common people, let's say I'm selling it for 100 ringgit, so I'm able to pay you some commission. Then that online service will ask you, okay, you have to pay 5% or 2% or 10%. Have you seen that? That's what happening today. Whatever you are buying. For example, you want to buy food and you are asking a wakil to send the food to you. That wakil is not producing the food. He is going to that cafeteria or the restaurant, picking the food and then coming and then giving to you. So now he become the wakil and you are paying to him on the basis of the commission. Yeah, because at the same time that person who is sending the food to the wakil, for example the restaurant guy, he also sending that food to that wakil based on the commissions. They work based on commission. Number five. Yeah, number five is the time, the period, the category of period. For example, a guardian remains a guardian until a minor reaches the age of major. Once the minor become adult doesn't need any guardian, he can do by himself. While a principal may at any time terminate the service, but here in the agency he can terminate any time. For example, it's about to be conclude and then suddenly you say, okay, you are fired. Usually that is the word people use, right? Okay, I am not happy with your agency, you are fired. Right? For example, lawyers, they say, okay, I'm not happy the way you take my case. It's not that very good, not the good. It's not in the right way. The progress is not good, so you are fired. You can do anytime that one comes in the agency. Yeah, I think yeah, we are finishing with that. Actually, we are finishing the guardianship and agency. Now we are moving to, because we finished pillar number one and then pillar number two, which is parties, you and me, buyer and seller. We've been talking the lengthy one for number two. Until now, we are finishing number two. All right. Let me go back here and then show you the whole thing so that I don't want you to become I don't want you to become lost in our discussion. See here, we are talking about expression one and expression two, right? We finished expression two right now. So the last, sorry, pillar number two. We finished the pillar number two. So pillar number one, pillar number two. Then the last pillar is what? The object or subject matter of a contract. We are now going to talk about the items that we are going to sell. That is the subject matter. We talked about the way of selling, whether it is sigha, buying and selling. Then we talked about the people who involved in that business, right? You and me, buyer and seller, and what are the consequences for buyer and seller, right? Everything we discussed clearly until we came to discuss the authorization, walāyah, and everything. So we finished that topic. Now we are going to the last pillar of contract, which is the subject matter, which is the thing that we are going to sell. What is it that we are selling? What are the fiqh issues with that thing that we are selling? Are we allowed to sell anything? Are we allowed to buy anything? So these are the things what we are going to talk about. It's going to be very short, by the way. It's not going to be long like last. All right, this is going to be very short and sweet, I think. So we will be finishing very soon. All right. So now let me take back to you again. All right. This is what the last one, the theory of contract, the object, subject matter of the contract. Okay. Remember when you talk about this subject matter, right? What I mean by subject matter is the thing. For example, I want to sell my pen, right? So this is the pen, right? I have it, my pen. So now I want to sell this. So I have the intention to sell this. So we talked about the expression. We talked about you and me, buyer and seller. Now I am going to talk about this pen. What is it actually I have to talk about this pen? Yeah, you must be wondering, what is it I have to talk about pen? Am I going to talk about whether it is black or brown, or what is it? All right. Yeah, there are some conditions that you should know. Number one is the existence, number two is the delivery, number three is determination, and number four is the suitable for transaction according to Sharia or not. It's a value of the product. Okay, now we see one by one. Yeah. Okay, the first condition of the subject matter is the subject matter must exist. All right. What does it mean? It means that it has to be there. You cannot sell something which will be in future. You cannot sell something which is not available right now, right? Because there's a possibility of gharar, right? If you are selling something that, okay, I'm selling to you the next year mango, right? I'm selling to you the 2025 iPhone. Right. So it is something that is not, for example, the old example what they give, animal fetus yet to be born, because usually people sell together with the fetus. That was not correct, because they said, okay, you are selling the cow, okay, but you cannot sell the fetus inside the cow or inside the sheep, because we are not sure whether it will come alive or not. All right, but there are some, of course there are some exceptions. Of course, I understand you may have some questions. What about the pre-booking car, pre-booking phone, pre-booking construction? Yes, those are the, of course there are some exceptions, what we call forwarding contract, which we call bay' as-salam, not salam, yeah, al-salam, by salam, and then by istisna. Istisna means what? You want to buy a house and then you ask the builder, contractor to build the house for you. He cannot build the house for you unless you pay. So you have to pay the payment. You make your place. For example, now we are buying apartment. It all comes under istisna, because there is no other way. He will be he cannot put that kind of money without the confirmation that you want to buy. And in a way, you are making your confirmation. How do you make your confirmation? It's not only promise, okay, I will buy from you. No, that promise is not enough, because is a big money, is a huge money. So in order to make sure that your promise is true, your promise is valid, what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to pay some deposit. Yeah, so that with that deposit the things will start, and then after 6 months or maybe 1 year, they will complete the contract. I mean, they will complete the manufacture, whether it is a building or you want to buy a car, you have to book the car, right? This all comes under al-salam or ijara. Then you have number two, something that you want to sell, make sure that you actually can deliver that thing. You cannot sell something which you cannot deliver. For example, here is the typical examples are there. Something's on the sky. Oh, I want to sell that bird to you. How you are supposed to deliver that bird to me, right? So I cannot say that there is a fish in the ocean, I just want to sell to you, or maybe there is a running away horses are there, I want to sell to you. No, those are, I know these are the old examples are there, typical examples are there, but you can bring so many new examples on this, right? So this is what today happening in gambling and all, something that they say, okay, you apply this, you apply for this scheme, you will be getting hundreds and hundreds after 6 months, after 1 month. You buy this thing will happen. You pay for this, and we will give you, you pay 1,000 ringgit, we will give you this much iPhones, or maybe the brand new iPhones, uh, which is not available, which is cannot be delivered. So there are so many new examples. I think you might share with me in the chat. I'm very happy to see the new examples. You can also ask me many questions. All these actually are relevant to what we are doing today. There are so many things like that which is cannot be delivered, which is cannot be. Then later I will say, oh, out of luck, maybe I was not lucky. No, please, there is no lucky or unlucky in this, right? Whatever you are going to get, Allah has already written, you know, his ink. The ink is already dried. What does it mean? Do you know the dried ink? Because whatever you're going to get, juffal qalamu, juffal qalamu, meaning to say that the pen has dried, the ink has dried out, meaning to say that Allah has already written what you are going to get. What you are not going to get, Allah already written, right? So now there is no something like we call lucky, not lucky, right? So if you do effort, you will be getting it. So the person, the only indication that you are getting it, or that person will be working on it, that person will be putting some effort. If someone at home, you think Allah has given everything, Allah has written everything, so it will come to me, so I'm going to sit down in my home, in my room. Sorry to say, brothers and sisters, it's not going to happen, because you close the door and then you are sitting inside, and then you believe in Allah that he will reach everything to you. It is not going to be possible. In common sense, in common world, you have to put some effort to get it, right? So in that manner, you can see this subject matter should be delivered, should be something that available, can be delivered. You can deliver later, it's okay. If it is firmly belief, you know, if you think that, okay, for example, right now I don't have that iPhone, but it is already there in some places, I'm sure it has to come all the way from that country, uh, but it is already there. That one is possible, can be delivered, isn't it? Can be delivered. So these are the things. Number two. Number three, the subject matter should be precisely determined. This is very important as well for today's whatever that we are buying and we are selling. I know we are particular about the quality of the thing, what exactly we are buying, right? So now, for example, okay, someone cannot come and say, okay, I want to sell 1 kilo of apple for 100 ringgit. I want to sell apple for 100. We want to know, okay, what kind of apples? Because there are so many kind of apple. You want to sell for 100 ringgit, we have the right to know what kind of apple, right? What kind of oranges? Because since your price is high, we have to know what kind of. Let's say sometime we buy durian for 10 ringgit per kilo. Sometimes they say 100 ringgit per kilo. I was like, 100 ringgit per kilo? Then of course I have all the right to know what kind of. So the genus, the species, the quality and quantity should be clearly described. That's the reason why when you are buying sugar for 5 ringgit, you have to know how many kilo is that actually. Is it 1 kilo or 2 kilo, or is it 100 gram or 200 gram? Isn't it? So we always say, okay, how much and what is it? This is the price. This is the price, 10 ringgit. Okay, how many gram of sugar is there, right? So the quantity and quality must be described. In fact, you are buying something, for example, whether it is a tudong or shoes or t-shirts for boys, right? So you always see what color it is, yeah, what quality it is, then only you will be able to pay that money. Uh, if the seller describes goods to be sold as being of a certain quality, and the goods upon inspection proves to be of inferior quality or value, the law allows the purchaser an option. This is what we call option. It's called khiyar, which we are going to discuss later. It's going to be a separate discussion for you. What kind of khiyar you have, what kind of option you have. So we are giving you option. Let's say if you are not happy with that quality, because we told you a quality, but when you received from us the quality that we assure, you are not getting it. So I cannot say you cannot return, because you have all the right to return to me. So in that way, I'm giving you an option whether to cancel or you keep it, right? So the options are already there. That's number three. Number four, the subject matters must be legal. Yeah, this is where actually we are coming. In fact, we are discussing our maxims. We discussed last time the maxims. I think if I'm not mistaken, is the last maxim that we discussed earlier. Whatever is whatever is forbidden, whatever is prohibited to consume, it is also prohibited to sell. It is also prohibited to give it to somebody. So now wine, blood, pork, all these things actually prohibited things. So this subject matter, you cannot say, okay, I cannot sell something, but I cannot eat something, but can I sell it to somebody? Because can I sell something to my friend who is actually non-Muslim? Right. So see, these are the questions are here. Maybe I can I can ask you a practical question. Maybe you can come up with answer, or maybe if it is okay, you can also do like a project or something. Not necessary to be. Maybe you can just put your answer in your chat. Um, let's say there is a mini market that you are about to buy, and the mini market owner told you, okay, the entire thing is actually I'm giving you for 100,000 ringgit. I just want to give it to you. There is more than 100,000 ringgit for sure. It is not less than, it's more than the things like items inside there is more than 100,000 ringgit. But I'm just giving to you entire thing, including the items in the shop, including the furnitures and everything, cash machines and all, and refrigerator and all, everything for 100,000 ringgit. So the deal was very good. So he bought the shop mini market for 100,000 ringgit. He has to pay the rental only. The rest everything he bought it. Now, uh, after he bought it, he's a Muslim, by the way. He looks at refrigerator. There is one section whereby he noticed that there is alcohol beverages are there. All right. So now tell me what he's supposed to do with that alcohol beverages. What are the options he has? All right. Maybe you just write it down in the chat box. So maybe we can just discuss. Let me see what you do your ijtihad. All right. So that's what I want you to do. Become the mujtahid and then tell me what are the options he has, what he can do with that. Because the alcohol beverages are there, what he's supposed to do with those beverages. So full fridge is there, maybe one section of there, maybe it's like around 1,000 ringgit worth of beverages, right? When he bought it, he didn't see it, but he bought it everything. So now what is actually exactly the point, right? So now so that is what actually the subject matter must be legal. Similarly, the sale of items that cannot be secured or possessed, such as fish in the sea, bird in the air. So whatever that someone cannot possess also comes under this, right? Okay. So now I just give you the. So I'm finishing it. Now I'm just giving you this uh, attendance. So please note it. I think you can see here. All right. So take a note. Section 1, section 2, attendance. So the rest, inshallah, I will open the floor for you right now. As I ask you a question, you can answer in the chat box. Also, you can talk to me. You can ask questions. We still have 20 minutes to go, 20, 30 minutes we still have left. And also we can discuss about your assessments and all right? So let me just finish the recording and then we can talk.